Just thoughts on the weekend against Missouri and what they offer.
I think they're a club that I haven't really broken them all down on video yet, but they've had some really high moments, and then they've had some rough ones lately. I think started out the conference season by sweeping Tennessee, and I think they've had some injuries on the mound, so they're kind of shuffling things that way. And played super competitive against Vanderbilt last week. Vandy's one of the best teams in our conference. So, going to have our hands full. Really good player in Luke Mann right in the middle of their lineup we're going to have to be very conscious of the entire weekend. But frankly, it doesn't really matter who we play. We need to play good baseball, good sound baseball. It's been a while. I don't even remember the last time we put a complete game together where you felt like you got really good starting pitching, you played from ahead. I said this last year, just a solid 8-2 game. It's like my favorite score in baseball, just 8-2. We just scored a couple runs early, kept them down, and play good defense, get timely hits, finish out of the bullpen, no real panic. I know that's tough to find, especially in our league, but my point is we just need to play some sound baseball, and we've been searching for that and haven't found it. But that gives me hope, I do believe this team's capable of doing that. But we have to go do it, and we got to do it sooner rather than later.
Starting rotation looked the same as last week?
Detmer and then, the old TBA guy twice. So we're going to let Detmer roll out there. We're going to see how that first game goes, get a good look at Missouri, and then we'll decide from that point forward. Could be Lampkin, could be Wansing, could be opening, could be running a right-hander out there like Josh Stewart. I thought did a really nice job last night. Could be a lot of different things, but it'll be Nathan, and then we'll take it from that point.
I know Nathan has been a little bit more up than he has been, but what's the next level? What clicks between where he is now and maybe getting back to some of his better performances last year?
Great start in the first inning, and then finish innings. He had. I thought after the first two innings on Thursday against a really good lineup for Auburn, he was outstanding, and I was like, okay, here we go. This is going to be it. This is like the Georgia game last year, the Vanderbilt game last year, or even pitched well, I think, against Arkansas here maybe. And then he gives up 5 2-out runs, and that's the difference. That's what drives you crazy, and that's what also, gives you hope that he'll do a better job of finishing those innings. You got to give credit to the other team, but 2-out hitting is what defines games. That's what wins and loses games. So we also got some big 2-out hits, but if he just needs a good clean 6-7 innings, but you got to be good to do it, and he's good enough. He just hasn't been good enough yet.
What have you discovered over your years of coaching that you need to tell guys to help them kind of get out of the slump, get the timely hits, because that's tough.
Well, timely hitting is, how do you practice that? How do you practice it? You practice. It's a mentality, right? You put together, whether there's nobody on base or whether it's second and third and 2 outs, you just put together a good at bat. For instance, Austin Boast, not including last night, but he had a 2.5 week stretch where he hit 14 or 15 balls over 95 miles an hour and only had 4 hits. That's what this game is. It'll eat you alive if you allow it. So there's not so much telling them, it's just reminding them, A, get your pitch, right? And B, trust in the process of putting a good swing on your pitch. And there's going to be days where you put a good swing on your pitch and it goes in, falls in, and there's going to be days where it doesn't. For example, we do a lot of highlight videos, like personal highlight videos, to remind these guys how good they are, right? And it's real easy as a young player to let it snowball on you. But that's what separates the big leaguers from the AA players. That's what separates them, is that they're confident enough. Jace Lavallette's confident. Whether he's 0 for 4 or 4 for 4, he believes in his next at bat is going to be his best at bat. And and he's a young player. But guys like Boast and Werner, they need to be reminded of that a lot.
So I heard last night, Coach, y'all
pretty well. I think you're averaging over 8 runs, in your 2 SEC series wins. So when you look at Missouri dead last in the conference and run score, right? I don't know, put pressure on is the right word, but if you score early, you feel like you can kind of dictate the series?
Yeah, I haven't looked at them far enough. I don't think we can assume much of anything. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of opportunity in every single game we play. But they have some good pitchers too, and they have some guys that did a nice job against Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt's an incredibly explosive offensive team. So, I'm sure Missouri like to get out of the cold weather and get down here. And I've never been there to their field, but I don't know what the wind's supposed to do here this weekend, but this tends to be an offensive park the more you go later in the year. So, we just can't assume anything. So I don't think about it that way.
Have you gotten a feel a little bit for what your catching platoon has to offer, and what's the next step for those guys?
I think with Gregson being out for a while now, obviously it's those two players. Caden Kent would be the emergency catcher if we ever had that situation. You play Hank, the experienced player, the majority of the time, get max at bats against the lefties. I think both of them are catching awesome. I think what they're doing offensively, obviously we'd love to have more, but if everybody else in the lineup was performing at their capability or 80% of their capability, then you can live with, because the most important thing a catcher does is catch the ball. And they're both catching great, they're both blocking great, they're both throwing well. Each guy threw a runner out last night, right? And so, the defensive side, it's a defensive first position. They both draw walks. Their on-base percentage is high. So that position's fine. Does it need to improve in the coming years? Yeah, for sure. And I think Hank's a good player, and I think Max is only going to get better. But yeah, that position right there is, the knock on wood's the least of my worries. The only worry I have with that position is we can't have another one go down.
Parents Weekend, obviously there'll be maybe a few more fans here than traditionally would come to your ball games. That's kind of a neat opportunity for this baseball team.
Yeah, it stinks it's a Thursday to Saturday series, That's the part, because I think traditionally, as you've said, as I've been told, Hutch, our director of operations, has been here for a long time, and he's told me how Parents Weekend's always a big weekend. So it's sad that we don't have a Friday, Saturday, Sunday series, but I know the ticket requests for myself to get people tickets have been through the roof, especially for Saturday. So hopefully we'll get a pretty day and have spring football game and a lot of fun things going on campus.